out a description of the vehicle that had been carjacked to all surrounding agencies, including Ripon and Escalon and California Highway Patrol, Stockton, Tracy and Lodi. Then approximately 30 minutes or so later, we got information that in the area of Ripon at a truck stop, another carjacking had occurred. The subject had gotten out of a vehicle matching the description of the first carjacking, and then assaulted a subject and took his vehicle at a work site and fled that scene. We work closely with Ripon PD and CHP in that area, and were able to obtain a license plate on that vehicle and put it out to all our agencies, at which time, a short time later, Stanislaus County CHP picked up a vehicle matching that description on Highway 120 outside of Escalon. A pursuit ensued. Our vehicles responded. Stanislaus County CHP and Stanislaus County, their CAT team, which is almost like our AgNet team, responded also. Their Street Crimes Clean team responded. We were able to initiate a vehicle stop, and the subject was taken into custody without incident at this time. He is here at our office, and I'm sorry to say that we learned that the subject of the shooting did not survive the shooting, but we're waiting to have the medical examiner respond to that location and deal with that crime scene. So pretty active incident today here in our small town of Lathrop, but luckily since we provide police services for Lathrop, we had approximately 50 officers that could swarm the area and begin in the investigation on all these different type of incidents that occurred that were attached to this original shooting. So the public is safe, the citizens of Lathrop and our county are safe, and we just want to say thank you to Stanislaus County, CHP, Ripon PD, Escalon PD, and our AgNet unit here at the Sheriff's Office for all their hard work and making sure that we had a peaceful resolution to this at this time. And I take any questions that you might have.
Sheriff, can you talk more about the homicide, upstairs? Did the suspect know the victim, or was it something random? Or can you kind of expound on that?
Well, it's an ongoing investigation, so we can't go into too much. I believe the family related, these subjects knew each other, but we can't go into too much more than that because it's so fresh right now, and we're still doing our investigation. But it does not appear to have been a random act.
And that was at the Telp Street residence?
Well, I'm not sure the address or the street there in Lathrop. I know it occurred in Lathrop.
Okay, and then then the suspect left the scene, fled the scene after the shooting? Fled
the scene in a vehicle and then tried to hide that vehicle. Did a pretty good job of hiding it, but he then chose to climb a fence over some razor wire and carjack another citizen of the vehicle there in Lathrop.
The car that he first fled in, was that his vehicle or family vehicle?
I don't know that at this time. We're not sure if it was his or one that was on scene there.
And this all took place in a matter of how much time?
Yeah, just about 2 hours, maybe less.
2 hours.
And then Sheriff, so we spoke with some family members off camera, and they tell us that there have been repeated calls to this residence because of the suspect and his behavior. Do we know, can you share with us, what kind of calls sheriffs have responded to in that home?
I have not been briefed on any of the calls. I believe this was a house that we were familiar with as far as other calls in the past, but I haven't been briefed at all as far as the details on those type of calls or if it was family related or what.
And the suspect, do you have any information on age or where he's from?
I don't have any suspect information we can release at this time. As I said, it's still very fresh, and we're notifying family members and things like that. So out of respect of the family that has lost a loved one, we're going to hold off until we can make sure that we have all our bases is covered before we start releasing anything in detail there.
The person who was assaulted in Ripon, what kind of injuries did that person suffer? Do you know?
I don't know what type of injuries, if any, occurred there. I just know that it was at a work site and the truck was taken from him. So I don't know if there were any injuries involved.
A pickup truck?
Yes.
Can you just talk a little bit again about the teamwork and the partnerships with all of these agencies that it took in order to get this suspect into custody today?
Absolutely. You know, we work really hard on that here in San Joaquin County. I think that's what makes us really strong here as a law enforcement community because we work so well together. And we did a really good job from the scene, our AgNet scene, getting information out immediately. Our dispatch, again, did an amazing job, as they always do, fielding calls from other agencies, tracking down license plate numbers or temporary license plate numbers and possible registered vehicles and where they're from, and dispersing that out to the agencies, getting witness statements immediately, going through our crime analysis and all that type stuff to get that information out to all the other agencies as far as possible directions that they fled, because it was a very chaotic scene, going from crime scene to crime scene, but being able to update each agency in the area, not just in our county, but our brothers and sisters in Stanislaus County, that it was just an amazing job of how law enforcement can work together and quickly resolve this, because this could have turned into a long manhunt had we not had all the cooperation of all the other agencies.
Now, in terms of how the suspect was caught and finally taken into custody, did he put up any resistance or anything like that?
From what I understand, thankfully, when CHP came in behind him and the other units arrived on scene, they initiated a felony vehicle stop, as you see a lot of time on television. And we were very thankful that the suspect complied with all the directions, and he was taken into custody without incident and without any other use of force other than our presence and our voice commands.
And Sheriff, do you have specific locations? I know there's 3 offhand where these crimes occurred.
As far as specific locations, not a whole bunch. I know that there's the house in Lathrop where the initial crime happened. About a mile or so away from there, there's by the area of Louise, McKinley area, over in that area is where the first carjacking occurred. Then he took that vehicle and he drove it until literally the wheels came off it and it wouldn't go any further. Somehow he blew a tire on that one, and over by the truck stop in the Ripon area. And then there was some construction zone by that he fled on foot. People at the truck stop saw somebody running through, thought it was strange, but didn't know anything was going on until the carjacking occurred there. So then the final car stop was done somewhere on 120 in between like Oakdale and Escalon area.
Is the Ripon truck stop at Jackton Road?
That's where I know the big ones are there, so that's what I'm assuming.
Were there any weapons found when he was stopped at the end?
Not that I'm aware of. A weapon wasn't found at that time, so we're still searching the area and kind of backtracking on these chases. Any of these chases, we usually go back and try and backtrack to see if anything was thrown. And then, of course, we have multiple cars that we have to freeze, get search warrants for, go through to see if anything was left in there.
And nobody else was hurt outside the home that you were with?
Not that I'm aware of. Thankfully, none of the people that were carjacked, I don't believe, were injured, at least not that I know of at this time.
Sheriff, do you know what kind of vehicle the first one on the tire, more or less?
It was another pickup. I think it sounded to me, as it was described to me, maybe a smaller, mid-sized pickup.
Will you be releasing any photos of the suspect at all?
I assume once we're finished with that part of the investigation, we're able to do that. There'll be booking photos available, that type of thing. And then any footage that we can release, obviously we will as soon as we can.
Do you have any, does he have any criminal history that you can release that you're aware of?
The only thing I know is that he has been at our jail in the past, multiple times, but I don't know of what type of crimes or anything like that.
And is he booked in the jail, or did he go to the hospital, or anything? What's his status right now?
Yeah, he did not have to be cleared at this time, and he's here at our office in one of the interview rooms waiting to be interviewed.
And in regards to the 5 agencies involved, can you share that with us again?
So it was our agency, along with our AgNet unit, that responded quickly and took charge of it. And then it was Stanislaus County CHP, and then the Stanislaus County what is it? Stancat. They're a kind of street crimes unit from what I understand. Escalon PD was aware and was in the area. And then Ripon PD obviously was part of the carjacking that occurred there in the Ripon area.
And you said CHP Stockton as well?
I'm not sure if out on 120 out there, if it was Stanislaus that came in or Stockton, but Stockton was aware and was actively helping the search up and down 99 for the vehicle.